In this video, you're going to learn what happened to CG Kid.
Pretty open about it that I'm a recovering meth and heroin addict with 3 years of sobriety. I am a former meth addict with 3.5 years of sobriety. So a little backstory on me, I am a poly addict, so that means I could get addicted to almost anything out there.
For several years, Philip Markoff made YouTube videos detailing his own past with drug addiction and getting into recovery, what helped him, what it was like being addicted, and more, including how people with loved ones who are addicted can understand addiction more and how people with an addiction can get help. Philip Markoff is known online as the Crazy Ginger Kid, or CG Kid for short. I remember seeing my first CG Kid addiction recovery YouTube video many years ago when I first started one of my YouTube channels as well. Right away, I was blown away at just how many subscribers and views this YouTuber had. But after seeing the video titles and topics and the information he was providing, it was obviously apparent the reason they were so popular is because he was doing something quite unique and very helpful. However, a little more than 2 years ago, things started to change. An article from tubefilter.com from February 22nd, 2018 states, drug addiction educator says he's leaving YouTube after erratic content strikes. Here's a quote from the article. Markoff, who spent several years hooked on various drugs before coming clean, often discusses his under-the-influence experiences in order to better educate his viewers on the effects of drugs and addiction. As a result, drug-related words appear in the metadata of his videos, and it is those terms that caught the attention of YouTube's automated content review processes. Hard drug use is one of the harmful or dangerous topics that violates the video site's community guidelines. Even though Markoff aims to prevent drug use, not promote it, he has still received 2 content strikes since launching his channel, and he has migrated his content onto his personal website. The most unfortunate aspect of Markoff's battle with YouTube is that his channel has the potential to help drug users who are trying to get clean. CG Kid's original YouTube channel now has 334,000 subscribers, although the last upload on this channel was from a year ago. The last upload from a little over a year ago is titled Weed Withdrawal Symptoms. 11 people share their experiences with cannabis withdrawal syndrome. And just 2 months before the last upload on his main channel, he started a new channel called CG Kid Vlogs. And on March 6th of 2020, did his first upload on the CG Kid Vlogs channel titled My Coming Out of Depression Experience and Some Thoughts on Harm Reduction Recovery. Then, just a few days ago, on May 3rd, 2021, a new video was uploaded on the CG Kid Vlogs channel titled First Video in a Year, Life Update. Bree! Now we're going to watch a few clips from this new life update video, and right after I show these clips, I'm going to give a breakdown of essentially what has happened to CG Kid, why he appears to be so much healthier and happier, and most importantly, how he has changed his identity from an addict in recovery, or a former addict in recovery, or a poly addict in recovery, or a former poly addict in recovery, to a much more holistic identity, which appears to be helping him out a lot in life. So here we go.
A lot of people have been wondering like where I've been at, and at first I took time to heal and heal from a lot, man. Like it was really bad what I went through. I mean, I went through suicidal ideation. I was still struggling with depression, and I was trying to figure out what was going on with me, and it's been a year-long journey, and I still haven't fully figured it out. I'm still crazy and a dingbat most of the time, but I had to start that journey. And honestly, with YouTube, could I come back to my main channel? Maybe, but I don't know. I'm done with predicting the future, but it really is just a job, and if I'm unhappy with the job, the answer is quit it and get a new one. And for now, at least, I'm working a different job, and I could come back to that one, and it's not really that deep or complicated, if I'm being honest with myself. Yeah, life is crazy now. I don't really care about the whole sobriety thing like I used to. I mean, I'm all about self-improvement and finding a better way to live, and if sobriety is a part of that, like quitting alcohol, I'm all in, of course. But I don't really care in proclaiming my sobriety and making it a public thing. It's a personal thing. I realize that now. And I don't really care what other people have to say about that or think about that. They can spend their time, trying to figure out whether or not I'm high in this video. I think it's a waste of time, but to each their own. And my boundary is my sobriety time, how long I've been sober. If I'm sober, that's between me and my family and people I choose. Specifically, it's not for me to broadcast all over the internet for the time being. Now, if I choose to talk about addiction, drugs, or sobriety, then of course I'll start saying this is how long I've been sober, but for now it's nobody's business and I don't have to explain myself. And for now I'm really just tired of talking about drugs. It's just, I think I was sacrificing a lot of myself to help others, And I don't have as much interest in that anymore. If I help other people through doing what I'm passionate about and what I love doing, that's great, but it's not my ambition to help others anymore. And it's kind of like I've done that already, and I'm ready to move on and do something new. So my life is, I'm much more focused on building a sense of self, because back then, I mean, I had all the YouTube subscribers, everybody saying I was doing a great thing, and the ego boost from that, and the sobriety time, and all these things, to identify with, the ego to inflate. I had all that, but I didn't have a sense of self. And the reality is, looking back, I cared way too much what people thought about me, and I don't care anymore. Now I do have a sense of self. I don't need those things anymore. And my sense of self comes from self-respect, self-esteem, discipline, and that comes from doing respectable, esteemable, hard things to do. And I hit the floor running every morning, like literally, I go running, and I don't want to. Sometimes I stare at my shoes for like 30 minutes. But the fact I even have that goal now is amazing. My whole life I lived off of fast food. I mean, I was sober, whatever, for however long, but I was living off fast food, sedentary lifestyle, literally not doing much of anything else in my life. My happiness always came from a couple sources. I was always convinced, making music will make me happy, or meditation, or yoga, or some diet, or this thing, like exercise, whatever it was always 1, 2, 3 things, and everywhere else in life I let myself go. I became so overly attached to things back then. It's crazy. And now I realize it's not one thing or even 100. I have this mindset change that it's really hit the ground running every morning and don't stop till I go to bed at night. So in doing that and doing what's uncomfortable and not really caring what other people think, I've discovered who I really am and what I really enjoy in life. I really am about physical health and well-being. I met someone, fell in love, and I'm excited about a new job I started, my career. I'm excited about exercise. I'm really into Wim Hof breathing, cold showers, weightlifting. I do intermittent fasting. I started with 1 meal a day, and now I'm doing warrior diet. That's one thing I'm passionate about. I love playing guitar. I love learning how to sing. I love my vision for my future. I love doing the things I don't want to do and that sense of victory that comes with it. I actually love fashion now, which is really weird. It's weird discovering yourself and discovering what you really want in life because you let go of the need to be important, or the need to be sober, or the need to be this, be that, be a label, a mental conception. And to understand that I'm really none of those things. I'm something so much more than my sobriety, my drug use, my emotional state, my thoughts, and you all are too, So I'm just here to say I love you guys and things are good. Me.
I don't know about you, but in my opinion, CG Kid has made an extraordinary transformation. Now let's break down his transformation step by step. 1. He took time off from helping others to help himself. I mean, think about it. It seems like for the first few years of his addiction recovery, most of his efforts were focused on helping other people by making YouTube videos and by talking on the phone and by helping people out however he could. And without a strong sense of self and being a people pleaser, combined with the massive hits of dopamine from all the attention on YouTube, the notifications of views and new comments, new subscriptions, people telling him how wonderful he is for making these videos. And while all that is amazing, helping other people and everything, eventually it got to be too much, and he had the insight to realize that he needed to take time away from that and really work on himself, get healthy, find out who he really is and what he really likes. And as a result of doing that, he has made quite a transformation. 2, he's no longer uploading on the CG Kid YouTube channel, as ultimately it was preventing further growth for him, and he was unhappy. And in my opinion, the new identity he's built for himself, which is much more authentic and holistic, deserved a new channel, as he bears almost no resemblance to the wonderful man that made all those addiction recovery videos in the past. 3, he no longer wishes to broadcast to the entire world his sobriety date and his poly addict in recovery label. And if he does more addiction videos in the future, that will be the only relevant time to share that information with strangers. For now, he has boundaries and will only be discussing these intimate facts about himself with his family and loved ones. And I totally understand. 4 and 5. CG Kid is tired of talking about drugs after doing it so much for so long. And after helping people with addiction and reaching tens of millions of people worldwide, CG Kid says it's time for something new. And I totally get this too. There are very few people in the world that have ever made it their lifelong passion and mission and career to help people with addiction. In fact, The career with the shortest lifespan of all careers is a substance abuse counselor. The average substance abuse counselor only works in the field for 2 years before moving on to a new career. Spending so much time helping people with addiction and talking about addiction is not something CG Kid wants to do for the rest of his life, and I commend him for not caring what other people think and doing what he feels is right for him, even though he probably has so many people wishing he would go back to doing addiction recovery videos as he did in the past. 6. YouTube stardom was a big ego boost, but ultimately unfulfilling and not healthy without a strong sense of self to keep CG Kid grounded. So it's no wonder why he took so much time off and ultimately started a new channel and is doing new videos on new topics. Without a strong sense of self, we look to others to find out who we are and to tell us who we are. That can be very dangerous and that can lead to many negative consequences. I'm so proud of CG Kid for having the courage to unapologetically be himself, as the very top regret of people on their deathbed is, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. That is the number one top regret of the dying. Well done, CG Kid, because you're not going to have that regret, and I'm proud of you. 7. CG Kid is done with people pleasing, and now he's doing what makes him happy. 8. He added exercise therapy in the form of running to his morning routine. Since he has suffered from depression, suicidal ideation, addiction, and other issues, I'm really stoked that he's added running to his morning routine. Why? When you start off the morning with cardio, even with moderate to mild intensity, you can boost dopamine, endorphins, enkephalins, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, and other brain-boosting, mood-boosting neurotransmitters for mental health and anti-addiction. And the best part, when you exercise first thing in the morning, that post-exercise bliss glow typically lasts the rest of the day. Well done, CG Kid. 9. CG Kid was living on fast food and junk food while sober and was not happy or healthy even though he was sober. And this is all too common. Simply abstaining from drugs and or alcohol and not focusing on exercise, nutrition, and supplements and other health strategies is a recipe for sobriety and, for a lot of people, physical and mental health issues. 10. CG Kid traded a life of attachment, which causes suffering, for a life practicing non-attachment, the end of suffering. Attachments are fixated attempts to control our experience, usually through clinging to what we perceive as desirable, or aversion to what we perceive as undesirable. Problem is, life usually has its own way of unfolding, quite separate from our attempts to control it, no matter how intense or well-intentioned. Non-attachment, therefore, is what occurs when we can let go of the need to be in dogged control of what is occurring and can reduce our demands on the present moment to be in any particular way. Non-attachment is aligned with psychological maturity and insight into the ever-changing nature of experience and the futility of trying to control it. 11. Not caring what others think of him and getting outside his comfort zone led to CG Kid finding out who he really is and what he really likes. I can only imagine how freeing this must feel for CG Kid. First, he had to learn to care less about what others thought of him. Next, he had to get outside of his comfort zone and do the hard work to discover himself and create a space to try new things and figure out what he likes and doesn't like. 12. CG Kid is in a new relationship, is in love, and has a new job which he also loves. Research has shown that human adults are their healthiest, happiest, and most resilient when in loving, committed relationships. And it's very common knowledge that for most people, it's much easier to be happier when they love what they do for a living. CG Kid was no longer happy doing what he used to do, but is loving his new job. He sure has a lot of great things going for him. 13. He has made health a top value and is now optimizing his brain-body health and is feeling and looking great. Healthy eating, intermittent fasting, Wim Hof breathing, cold therapy, weightlifting, and he's even in the middle of a cleanse right now. In comparison to his old YouTube channel videos, to the video that we just watched on his new CG Kid Vlogs YouTube channel, it is totally apparent that CG Kid has totally revolutionized his health and fitness. And last but not least, 14. CG Kid no longer views his total identity as a recovering polyaddict with X number of years clean. And I totally get it, as in my opinion, addiction is a health disorder, not an archetype or identity. And in my opinion, it's this new, more accurate, more integrated, and more holistic identity that is the biggest reason for his transformation and why I believe it'll also continue. Why? There's a common belief that many people have about themselves that is detrimental to recovery. The belief is, I am a drug addict that is trying to stay clean. Or another version is, I am an addict in recovery, or an alcoholic in recovery. recovery. Or at the beginning of 12-step meetings when you're going around introducing yourselves. Hi, I'm Bob, alcoholic. Hey, Dan, addict. John, addict, alcoholic. Hi, my name's Beth and I'm an alcoholic in recovery. Words and beliefs are influential, but the need to stay consistent with our identity is the strongest force in the human psyche. Therefore, if people continue to view themselves as addicts, even ones that are trying to stay clean, they most likely will fall back into the behaviors associated with that identity. How we see ourselves matters, and what we choose to place after the words I am has a significant impact on our lives. And now we've reached the conclusion of this video. What I really want to say is that I love transformations. I've been obsessed with transformation as long as I can remember, and the reason I made this video is because I am so stoked on CG Kid's transformation. What's next for CG Kid? Well, he just did a video on ADHD and dopamine reset, and not long ago he also uploaded some music videos that he made where he's rapping and singing, and I have a feeling we're going to see a lot more incredibly creative and helpful YouTube videos from CG Kid. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe if you have not already done so, and give this video a thumbs up if you're stoked on CG Kid's transformation. Have a great one, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.